I'm not politically correct at all. And my approach and the faculty's approach with the kids is you've got to get ready to go to school with a bunch of really wealthy white kids. You'll have to work harder than you've ever worked. You'll cry, your family will cry, but it'll be worth it in the end. We'll change your life.
We help kids so that they can really end up changing their economic and social trajectory in a way that allows them to break out of this incredible trap of poverty.
Beacon Academy is an extra year of school between 8th and 9th grades designed to get really smart, talented, hardworking, good kids into some of the best high schools in the country. My grandfather and grandmother and my father all delivered eggs house to house in Boston, and I used to have to go with them when I was a kid. That was my job.
They were amazing activists, so they went and marched with Martin Luther King in Montgomery, Alabama. They hosted innumerable events for the ACLU, so I kind of always thought that I should continue that work in some way.
At City Year, I think I had probably 9 or 10 different jobs, full titles in my first year there.
Anytime anyone needed to get something done right, they'd say, "Cindy, you're in charge of this now." I had children at the time. I worked there as a consultant.
I'd seen where Marsha's kids went to school, these really beautiful, expensive independent schools, and this was nothing like that. Only 5 of 73 freshmen passed all their classes first quarter of freshman year.
You know, where we're looking at kids who went to Boston public schools, getting A's and B's in English, but when they got to these independent schools, the children would underperform, and it was horrible for them, horrible for the school, and they'd oftentimes leave.
And so I had this idea that if we could do a school that was a one-year school, we'd get city kids into schools with Marsha's kids, and they would be academically super prepared. Academically, we have to make up at least 3 years almost with every single kid, at least in English and math. Those are the 2 subjects we focus on the most. If they work hard enough, they can do it. And their test scores go up. I think every kid this year at least doubled. Some tripled, some quadrupled.
No, mine should go after yours because it says these numbers reveal systemic inequality and the compensation of women. So I feel like...
We get super involved with the families. We really need to know what's going on. We need to know how hard it is. We need to know if you have food or if you go home and you have to babysit. Like, what is getting in the way of you performing at your absolute best? When we started Beacon, we thought that we just needed the kids for 1 year. And we'd get them placed in these grade schools and they'd be all set. And immediately we started to get the calls from kids saying, "I don't know what's going on here." Beacon kids have to continually navigate a very complex environment. One of the questions that they get is, are we forcing it? Are we putting these kids into worlds that, you know, their families really don't want them in?
We want them to recognize that their children are able to operate in a number of different worlds because they're confident and they're competent.
I think my answer to families is always is, don't you want your kids to have options? We're not saying to the kids, you're going to these schools so you can get rich. We're telling you to go to school to get educated, because you're smart, and then you have options.